And I watched him so long that I got convinced I was watching the same bee, the same girl bee coming and going. And I remember thinking, that, I mean, all things considered, that is a pretty big animal with pretty small wings. Like, how can it pull this off? And then I saw in Ripley's Believe It or Not, in the Washington Post, the Sunday paper, according to aerodynamic theory, bumblebees are aerodynamic misfits which should be unable to fly. And I remember thinking, even as a kid, I remember thinking, wait a second, the bees are fine. The problem is with your theory. And this is, it kind of just got me this whole thing, like, don't take everything that grown-ups tell you as true. And that's what we did, and after that, well, everything I said. But after that, I really became fascinated with aerodynamics and airplanes and stuff. So that was really, I think about bees a lot. And then I got stung by a bee, and my older brother had this chemistry set back when they were cool, when they were dangerous. He made ammonia. He would make ammonia. This was like one of his parlor tricks. And it's a really distinctive smell. Then when I got stung, which sucked, the grown-up, my mom put ammonia on it. It's like there was this whole bee ammonia chemistry set, aerodynamics, sciences, magical, fabulous feeling. That's a cool question. Thank you. Get kids excited about it when they're 2 years old. Yes.
The next question is over here.
My name is Taylor. I'm a health and exercise science major, actually from OU, from Sooner.
Let's be civil, people.
My question to you is, what points do you think need to be improved about the American educational public school system, specifically in science, so that America can sit at #1, as Finland does right now, in science education and literacy?
Simple. Actually, it's not that hard. Thank you. The first one is start younger, to your point. And you get people excited about it way sooner than when they're in kindergarten. Way like preschool, get people excited about science. And then the other thing that's interesting, and this is not my idea, the single most reliable indicator of whether or not someone will pursue a career in science, so that we have more scientists, and especially engineers, is algebra. Algebra, if people don't embrace algebra, they're not encouraged, or they're reluctant to think abstractly about all sorts of other things later in life. So, especially science, the process of science. So my claim is that algebra is not expensive to teach. It's another thing we just got to start a little earlier. Get people to have letters represent numbers a little earlier. And we could, I think, in a very inexpensive fashion, change the world. So get her done. Let's get her done. Woo! Yeah. Who's next? I want to call on people, but we need microphone people. Yes. Are we going to get anybody in the balcony? Do you have technology for that?
Yeah, the next one will come from up there, not on the floor. But Leanne, do you have a question for me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm Kurt Stutz.
Nice shirt, let me say. Styling shirt. Yes.
I'm a freshman in strategic communications major, and my question is, will there be a point where space travel is completely private business, or is it going to stay?
That's a great question. So everybody, we're living at a time where space exploration may be getting a lot cheaper. Just keep in mind, so here's the thing. When NASA was created, National Aerospace and Space Administration, there were people who were skeptical of the whole thing, and so they put NASA centers in 14 different places around the US. So it was politically impossible to cancel the space program, because there was going to be a congressman or senator from someplace that's just not going to let it happen, right? But what's going on now, and what everybody likes to talk about, is SpaceX, right? Sierra Nevada Space, and the links from, and then also Virgin Galactic, which are doing these new materials and stuff. But when you manufacture a rocket in one building, you can do it more cheaply than if you have to send it to a dozen places around the country to manufacture it. But keep in mind that when the East India Company went to India, they didn't go there till after the British government had paid explorers to explore. The Hudson Bay Company wasn't formed till after Hudson Bay was discovered by people from Europe and Maine. Nobody built the Transcontinental Railroad until after Lewis and Clark went across North America. So keep in mind that everybody, it sounds so cool to go into space, you know, on an entrepreneur commercial way, but when you go to explore these places that are farther and deeper into space, it's almost certainly going to be the government going first and exploring. And just by way of example, people want to mine asteroids, and the original thing was we're going to do it for platinum. We're going to find a platinum asteroid, it'll be worth billions of dollars, and just tow it over here and parachute it down, and it's going to be great. While those same people are finding that that's not so easy to tow asteroids around. And they're probably going to use the water on asteroids for rocket fuel first. So I'm Mr. Commercial Space, let's go. I'm the CEO of the planetary, so let's go, go, go. Keep in mind, SpaceX has taken $500 million from the US to help develop their rocket. So we are looking at partnerships to lower the cost, especially to low Earth orbit. But it's not very likely, really, that people are going to go to Mars to make money. It's not very likely. I'm open-minded, of course, but there'll be government exploration first. That is a cool question. Thank you. Cool question. Lead on, Logan.
All right, next question is up here. I got my friend Max. He is 9 years old.
I was 9 for a while, Max. No, I was. It was about a year.
My question is, what was your least favorite subject in school, and how did you overcome it?
My least favorite subject in school. That is a question that fills me with deep insight about my past. My grandmother was French, from France. She spoke English with an accent my whole life. She married the U.S. Army captain after the First World War. And I, for whatever reason, rejected French. When I took French, I got through it, but I rejected it. And now I'm heartbroken. I wish I'd learned to speak French with no accent as a little kid. So what may be your least favorite subject in school is the one that you're fighting with, not because it's hard, but for some other reason. I just was being a rebellious kid when I didn't want to learn French. But as I look back, I wish I had. So whatever it is that's troubling you, just see if you can get over it and embrace the subject, because I'll bet you'll want to know what it is later. The people that have come before you have given deep thought to what you should learn when you're 9 years old. So although a lot of stuff that grown-ups tell you is stupid, some of it's really good. So whatever is bugging you in school, see if you can get past it, and dare I say it, change the world! Yes. Logan.
All right, we're down Twitter real quick with a fellow mechanical engineer named Dane Rogers, and he asks, throughout your experience on your television show, what was your favorite experiment you did on the Bill Nye the Science Guy show?
Well, my mechanical engineering colleague, I remind you, if you ever decide to get that job dancing on Broadway, as a Broadway dancer on the side, never say your favorite dance partner, because then people will think you don't want to dance with anybody else and your career will be limited. By analogy, I'm never going to say my favorite experiment, because there was something in every show that I really liked. However, getting a ride in the Blue Angels F-18 Hornet aircraft was pretty cool, I guess. It's pretty cool. But I went scuba diving, you know, the sharks, and the one where we had the solar panels on the globe, and I tilted the globe toward the light, and the motor went faster, and tilted away, and it went slower, just like the Earth seasons. That was pretty great. So this little tabletop thing was cool, and flying around in a $350 million airplane. That's a good question. Yeah, yeah. Lead on, Logan.
Leanne,
We are up here in the corner.
Hi, my name is Jessica Michael. I'm from the Microbiology and Molecular Genetics program. I'm a graduate student. And my question is, how can we combat anti-vaccine movements from becoming a detriment to our society?
I mean, people who don't believe in vaccination.
Yeah, they believe that vaccines are causing more hurt than they actually are.
Yeah, so I'll just tell you, we are making a change. I was on The View, you know that show? This is what, can I just say, all the men are looking at me, what? What? It's a show with a view where women sitting around talking about today's events and so on. And the notorious gal in this is Jenny McCarthy, right? So I was walking around backstage in makeup or whatever. She would not look me in the eye. She would not, because I've said I just hope that that view that vaccinations are inappropriate is discredited. I mean, people, imagine a time when nobody knew what germs were. It was only like a couple centuries, 150 years ago. Nobody knew what germs were. I mean, my goodness. You know, we don't have smallpox, we don't have whooping cough, we don't have scarlet fever, we don't have polio. I was a little kid, and we all went to the junior high school to get sugar cubes of polio vaccine. Polio, I had with the elementary school, the guy who had polio. I do not recommend it. I mean, we have changed the world through our understanding of germs. So I guess what it is, it's science literacy. Did I mention voting? Vote. Vote.
All right, our next question is up here to the left.
Hi, my name is Heather. I'm an astrophysics major. I was wondering, I'm from Seattle, so go Huskies. I was wondering what advice you have for someone who wants to eventually have a career in the Planetary Society or at NASA.
You want to work in the Planetary Society?
I do!
Well, send us your resume, man. We need to hire some people. We're growing, the Planetary Society is growing, and we need to hire people. I'm just hating you. I know you love Oklahoma, it's fabulous, but lady, you're with your classmates here.
I love Washington.
Anyway, it's where I work. You have to get used to the smell of roses all the time. And it's tough, but I mean, you can get used to it. Anyway, so, if you want to work at NASA, stay the course. You're the kind of person that's going to find the asteroids and save the world. So, yeah, just stay the course. Learn as many things you can. But I will say, for me, the main thing to learn is physics. Physics is, all science is either physics or chemical. If you want to do it. But I mean, I'm not an expert on astrophysics advice. But if you get into stellar modeling and stuff, we're making discoveries about dark matter and dark energy. We might find a source of energy that no one's ever thought of that would, did I mention this? Change the world! Yes. Keep going. Logan, lead on.
All right, this is going to be our last question.
Whoa, last question. Okay, it can be the last question if it's good.
Okay, well, Deanne, you have a good one for me?
All right, to your far right, Bill.
My name is Justin Freeman. I'm an electrical engineer. And I just wanted to ask, in your opinion, what is the most promising experimental source of clean energy right now?
Well, right now, I think it's a combination of wind and solar. But the biggest source of energy, if I can change it a little, if you can just find a way to store it, a better battery, that would change the world. Or if you had a Stirling engine or something, if we store heat underground and molten salt and use that heat to run a Stirling engine the next day, that might do it, but there's problems with freezing and the plumbing. But anyway, I think it's going to be a combination of stuff. Just that sunlight and wind are already so distributed. They're the most distributed things ever. They're blowing all over the place. They're shining all over the place. We just have to find a way to store it and distribute it to as many people as possible for the betterment of humankind. And it's not just electrical engineering, although of course you might have a gigantic role in transmission especially. It's not just chemical engineering, it's not just microbiology, it's not just political science, it's not just entrepreneurship. It's all of us working together. We can do more with less. And my friends, I am sure that we can change the world. Thank you all very much.